In the last tutorial in this series, we planned out how we will build our skin and we measured up each section of the PSD file. We can now go ahead and start building our div structure using these measurements. So open up your preferred HTML editor program and we'll open up our .NET Nuke file system. To do this in Visual Web Developer, we need to click on Open Website. Now we need to navigate to the root directory of our .NET Nuke installation. Note that in Visual Web Developer you can also connect to a remote server here. Once you've located your root folder, select it and click Open. OK, here on the right you should see the Solution Explorer. To get started, let's add in the template skin files supplied in the Tutorial Files folder. So open up the folder and open the skin folder, highlight the PSD tutorial folder and press Ctrl and C to copy it. Now return to Visual Web Developer and in the Solution Explorer we need to navigate to the Skins folder, which is in Portals and Default. Now highlight the Skins folder and press Ctrl and V to paste our folder in. OK, if we now open up our new skin folder, you will see that we have various files and folders in here. The two that we want to concentrate on first are the home ASCX file and the skin.css file. Open up the home.ascx file by double-clicking on it. The first things you'll notice in this skin file are these lines of code. These are very important. I won't go into detail, but basically they allow .NET Nuke to read this file as a skin, and they also allow us to use what we call .NET Nuke skin tokens, such as the login and register buttons. Underneath these you'll see a green comment stating temporary style sheet attachment. This will be removed once we have built the skin. It is just here so that this file can import the CSS styles and layout that we will be creating shortly. Underneath this we have a line of code to include the admin control panel to our skin. It is very important that we include this, as if it's not there, .NET Nuke will not allow us to use this skin, and even if it did, we wouldn't be able to do anything with the skin. OK, we can now begin creating our div tags. So here on line 20, I'll create the logo bar div. And just so we can see it when we preview, I'll add some text inside it. OK, so we need another 6 of these, so I'll just duplicate them. And I'll set each ID based upon what we have in the Photoshop document. And now I'll quickly change the text inside each one of these div tags. So underneath the logo bar we have the nav bar, then we have the header, the content, the info bar, the lower panes and the footer. If we now click on the split view button down at the bottom left of the window here, you can see we have created a simple pile of divs. Now we can start adding colour and dimensions to each div. So over in the Solution Explorer we'll open up the skin.css file. Again, you'll notice that we already have some code in this file. This is just standard styling of all the main elements in a .NET Nuke skin, just to get us started. We'll begin by adding our div styles below the layout comment here. OK, so from the top we'll add a hash, followed by the logo bar ID. All these styles start with a hash symbol to tell the skin that these are div IDs. Now within the logo bar curly brackets, we'll add the dimensions that we noted down earlier. So the width is 960 pixels and the height is 95 pixels. Now we want to centre this div into the middle of the page. The best way to do this is adding a margin of auto. And so we can see what we've done more clearly, we'll add a background colour to this div. We'll save the file by pressing Ctrl and S. Now let's go back to the skin file and see if this has worked. And as you'll see, our logo bar now has a red background and has the correct dimensions. I'll just test its centering correctly. Okay, now we can do the same with all the rest of the divs. We'll add a background colour and the height . Okay, you can see that I've now filled in all the widths, heights and the background colours of every div tag that we need. We have the width of 960 in each div, and then we have each individual height which corresponds to what we noted from the Photoshop document. Now we can save this and check the skin file preview. You'll see we have our 7 divs with correct dimensions, but with no gaps. We are going to add these gaps using bottom margins, so using our dimension notes as a guide, we'll add the gap heights as a bottom margin of the div above. So return back to the CSS file, and you'll see the first gap comes directly below the navbar. So we'll locate the navbar ID within the skin.css document, and we'll create a new line beneath the margin auto line. Here we'll add a margin bottom of 19 pixels. The next gap is underneath the header, and this one is 23 pixels. So again, underneath the margin line. Okay, so you get the idea. I'll now go ahead and add the rest of the bottom margins. Okay, so the content div now has a margin bottom of 27 pixels. The info bar a margin bottom of 21 pixels, and the lower panes a margin bottom of 16 pixels. There is no need to stick to the exact margin heights here, I am just demonstrating how close we can get to the original design. So we'll save this file and check out the skin document preview. And there we have it, the main layout of our new skin. We can now proceed and convert our new layout into a working skin for .NET Nuke 6.